Hey y'all, welcome to Botox and Booze. The theme of this week's episode is which tox is the right tox. We're going to be talking about all things neurotoxin, Botox, Dysport, the works. Joining us is Executive Director of West Texas Food Bank, Libby Campbell.
Hello.
Hey, Libby.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Libby, we've been friends for a long time.
And I love your son. That is probably the best story ever. I'd just barely been at the food bank, and Jody Salisbury actually sent me a picture of Garrett, had written a note, and he was out with his wagon collecting donations for the West Texas Food Bank. And how old was Garrett? He was
Like 10?
maybe.
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 He was early elementary school because his handwriting in those pictures I saw him the other day. It was
rough. It was
poor
cute.
baby.
It was like cute baby rough. Yeah, like adorable rough. And so, but we now have a day at the West Texas Food Bank that is actually named after Garrett, still to this day, for his food drive that he does every, I think it's November, kind of December-ish. But his first drive, I know that he made Marcie go pick up donations and make copies of his note and drug his wagon around the neighborhood and put letters in. But that one year he collected 10,000 pounds of food and had like $10,000 in donations that he collected. And so we actually have a day that's named after Garrett at the food bank, and there's a plaque, and each year we put how many pounds that he's collected. So I'm hoping when he graduates from high school that he will continue this and that we'll have a total pound count for him to actually put on his college applications.
Oh, it makes me want to cry.
So he's pretty special to me.
I'm such a proud older brother.
I know, right?
So what's funny about Garrett is like every time I feel like I hit a struggle at the food bank or I get frustrated with what's going on, it seems like Garrett just comes out of nowhere. He's like, I'm going to bring the whole football team to volunteer for 24 hours. And I'm like, okay. It's like he just has so much passion and philanthropic blood in his body that he wants to give back to the community and make it better. So you've done a good job, Mama.
Thank you. He actually inspires me. Whenever all that started, it kind of made me sit back, and the letter said, if anybody needs anything, call my mom. She'll come pick up, she'll drive me, whatever. It was like, Mom, call my mom, and it had my phone number on there. I was like, how many copies we have to make?
How much am I driving?
But he totally inspired me to get involved with West Texas Food Bank. And of course, I met one of my really good longtime friends. So that's been the most amazing part of Garrett and your relationship, is that he brought me a great friend.
Well, I think what's magical about when you do give back to your community and you're philanthropic is that it always seems like you don't just at the food bank feed a belly and you keep it full. You find a way to feed your soul. And whether that's you have people that become lifelong friends, or you inspire youth to be philanthropic within their community and give back, or be servant leaders, I think that's really important. So I always say the food bank in West Texas doesn't just feed people. We distributed over 6 million pounds of food last year to the 19 counties that we serve, which is equivalent to about 34,000 square miles of West Texas. So if there's any geography bums out there, that's actually the same size as the state of Maine. But we feed your soul too, to give back and to be more involved and to inspire others to step forward and do something within the community. So I think it's really important.
When you don't have to, you can be a 10-year-old at Carver Center who gets his friends and makes his mommy drive around. It starts somewhere. And a 9 or 10-year-old who can raise $10,000 in a month, it can be done out here. So I think that's a good lesson for all of us. I think sometimes we feel like, what can I do? How can I help? I'm one person. It takes a lot of those one people to make a big difference.
And Garrett has inspired others. That's what I think he doesn't really realize, is that he continues to inspire every year. We have little kids that come in and there for their birthday, they're donating, stuff for their birthdays, and they've done a food drive. And we look at Garrett and say, Garrett started this when, 10 years, 6 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever it is, and he's collected so many pounds of food, and that means he's fed so many people, and it's equal to so much amount of money, so that you are making a difference even with little hands. And so he does continue to inspire others without even being there every day by just what he started with his wagon and his note, and you having to drive.
Well,
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what we are. We are a cab service. So
this year I'm home free. This year he'll be driving his own truck. So Mama made it to the big time.
I got another year. Max got another year. But yeah. So
y'all changed him. Y'all inspired Garrett. The food bank and what he did, and having his own day and getting to feel so important for doing something good.
He was on the news.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was like the best moment. He was like, I'm going to be on TV.
Oh, he was so feeling himself that day. But that's the thing, y'all. It felt good to help people, and it felt good to be doing it. And so he's been doing it ever since. So y'all shaped that kid's future, and I'm forever thankful for that.
Well, I'm thankful he wandered in with his wagon, and Jody sent a screenshot. She's like, you're gonna love this, because she knew I was having a bad day. And I was like, I love that kid. Where's his mother? Who is she?
Oh, y'all are making me look good, so thank you. Both of y'all are making me look good. Talk to us a little bit about, we live in Midland. We call it the bubble, the oil patch. The point is there's a lot of industry here, and there is a big gap between those who work in the oil industry and those who don't, because the cost of living is so high here. What does that look like? How's that different than other places?
I'm lucky I get to go to work every day and do what I get to do, and the community trusts me to lead the food bank. But I am president of the Feeding Texas Board, so I do work with all 20 other food banks in the state. There's 21 of us. One of them is the largest in the country, which is Houston, so we call him King B, but that is the Houston Food Bank. And then there's 2 others out of the 21 total that are in the top 5, which is San Antonio and Dallas. So there's a lot of personality on that board and in that room, because all the CEOs and executive directors, we sit on there. We are probably the most unique food bank out of all 21. And part of that is just because of the way our economy is. Mm-hmm. When things are great out here, we're in a boom, and we are an oil patch, and we love booms. As fundraisers or people who want to build buildings or have to give back, and raise money to do that, we love booms because people are willing to give. Corporations can give. There's places to go and do that. But there's a really dark underbelly to what the boom is, and that really comes down to the cost of living, the infrastructure, whether it be the roads, the schools, healthcare, finding an apartment, finding a rent house, being able to afford a home here, property taxes, all of that kind of builds into one. So if you think about it, is a good way to put it is, a year and a half ago, we went down 25% in distribution of pounds that we were giving out, because everybody went back to work. And we're like, yes, we're working ourselves out of a job. That's the goal. We're going to be all about education and nutrition. We're going to teach people how to grow sweet potatoes in West Texas in their yards. But when what happened in June and July, we started seeing this huge uptick in need. And when leases started to expire and have to renew, and lease basically doubled. So we have 2 large groups. We not only made up the 25% that we are down, we passed that by another 10% in pounds that we distributed to the community. And that was all based on cost of living. So you have 2 groups that are trapped in the cost of living of a boom, which is our elderly population. So people over 60, they cannot go work in the oil field. They can't take advantage of those jobs. They live on fixed incomes. Most of them are widowed or single. They have their retirement and they have maybe Social Security, but most of them don't qualify for SNAP or government assistance. Really, in the 19 counties that we serve, out of all the counties in the state of Texas, we have the lowest amount of people on SNAP or food stamps because they don't qualify. And then the second largest group we serve is under the age of 18. Again, cannot take advantage of an oil field job. So rents go up. Maybe parents are working, single moms, or single grandparents are working 2 jobs trying to put food on the table. So it becomes a huge struggle.
If you can afford to live, you can't afford to eat.
Right. And the one thing that is always movable in your budget is food. You've got to make your car payment. You're going to pay your car insurance. You're going to pay your electric bill. You're going to pay your rent. But the one thing that you can always adjust is what you spend at the grocery store.
That's where you get hit.
And so that's where you start cutting. So in Midland, we have a food bank here that it's just celebrates 2nd birthday.
So impressive. The first time I went in there, it was overwhelming because I could not believe. I've seen you talk at Congress. I've seen you on TV talking, but that is what overwhelmed me. I walked in and I was like, this is amazing in Midland, and y'all did this.
Well, and we were lucky. When I first got there that first year, we did a $12.7 million capital campaign. We raised $13.3 million in 13 months and 5 days. It built the 2 state-of-the-art facilities that we have. We have one in Odessa and one in Midland. And if you went to Houston, San Antonio, or Austin, it's exactly like that, but it actually fits our community. And we talk to people about different programs and things that we could put into the food bank to be the food bank someplace you can bring your kiddo to do volunteer, that you can teach them to do servant leadership and young philanthropic behaviors, and you can give back at 2 or 3. You can sit under and pop puddings for a food to kids sack and come do that with your kiddo at the food bank. But I wanted it to be a happy place. We want to serve with dignity to our clients. So I love the food bank. The fact the food bank here in Midland won in 2017, it was the most innovative green food bank in the country
I absolutely believe it.
out of 200 other food banks. So we're kind of proud of that, and it's right here in Midland. We are about to announce a surprise at the end of June 27th. We're going to have a little groundbreaking on an expansion on the Midland building.
Oh, yeah.
So we're kind of excited about that. But I wanted it to be a happy place. And we have a senior pantry that's sponsored by HEB in that location. And when we first started that pantry, we had maybe 20 or 30 seniors that came twice a month. We had senior pantry today, and we had over 90 seniors that showed up for food. And over the past 18 months, it's all been cost of living. So we started hearing stories about people are eating cat food.
When you told me that one time, I just almost lost it.
'Cause-
Little old ladies eating cat food.
Yeah, our LOLs, our little old ladies, I call them our LOLs, because it's less expensive, but it's still a form of, kind of protein. They'll split meals. They make decisions about medications, so they won't take maybe they'll take every third day, they'll take their heart, blood pressure medicine. So that affects our actual overall cost of healthcare in West Texas, because now they're in the hospital. They may not have money to pay for their coverage. So it's all connected. So we started, of course, the senior pantry. And then we also were able to bring the senior box program here to West Texas in October. So we're delivering about 1,000 boxes a month to seniors every month. It's a supplemental food that's specially designed just for seniors. So it has like cornflakes and like prune juice and, low sodium soups, and all those things are directly going to seniors now. And we're partnering with, we have 83 different partner agencies that we work with. So if you think of Meals on Wheels or Senior Life or Link, we partner with them, and they get most of their food from us, but they're also helping us distribute those boxes here in Midland, but then also in places like Alpine at the Sunshine House there, who works with seniors in that part of the Trans-Pecos. So the senior box program is really close to my heart, and I'm really happy to see it grow. We can go up to 2,000 boxes a month, so we're still continuing to sign up, because it takes time to find the seniors and get them signed up and start delivering. But volunteerism is huge for that program, because it's like, if you know about Food to Kids, which is the backpack program, the senior box is the same thing, but for seniors. So we have to have volunteers actually come in and build the boxes. They're called kits, and then we go deliver them. So the senior box program is huge, and Canna has helped sponsor that program for us, and it's just been amazing. And then also to see our seniors get so much like fresh produce and good food, and it's just been amazing. So
those people took care of us. You know what I mean?
we need to take care of them.
That's right, 100%. I love what y'all are doing for the seniors.
And there's
amazing.
a lot of kid programs. You've got Kids Cafe, which I think we've got 18 sites going, or 14 sites going this summer for summer feeding. I know at the library yesterday we fed over 93 at the Midland Library that showed up for snacks. We have 2 chefs on staff and a kitchen manager, so we prepare more meals every day and then deliver everywhere, and work with a group of volunteers to serve those kiddos. Of course, Food to Kids is the backpack program, so that program is currently resting right now, but we're doing Kids Cafe. We opened 13 school pantries this year across the 19 counties. Most of them were actually here in Midland, and then we piloted a program at South Elementary here in Midland that's a mix of like a backpack Food to Kid program and the senior pantry, like a senior pantry or a school pantry mixed together. So we're not just reaching the kiddos, we're getting the holistic approach and meeting the parents too.
One of the things that you said to me in one of the times we were talking about.
When you were fixing my face?
Something. One of those.
You fixed my face.
Well, you fixed my heart, so I owe you, okay? You fix the inside, I'll fix the outside, okay? But one of the things you told me was about that elementary school population, and it's
very nomadic, and they're referred to as couch kiddos. That means they jump from cousins to aunts, uncles, friends' homes, and they just kind of move around.
Multiple families living in single homes, cars.
Storage units. And it's really heartbreaking, but I think there was a moment when we first opened one of the school pantries over in Odessa, and one of the cheerleaders came through. And I just kind of sat there, and I was like, this isn't who you really would, you have that, sadly, people get that stereotype in their mind, and they think, and she's coming through with her sister, and they're getting a box of food to take home because, her guardian is working 2 jobs. And it's not that, but here she is. She's a kiddo. She's a cheerleader. She's making her grades. She's doing everything she's supposed to do, And so there's those kinds of things that you really don't think about that affect the face of hunger in West Texas, because it's not what you would normally think of. People think of people who are homeless and on the side of the road, or that kind of image in their mind. But that's not what it is. Like, we are definitely taking care of the working people who have things like their tires blow, or all of a sudden they get really sick and they need to go to the doctor, or their rent suddenly went up and their trash bill was due at the same time and they had to pay daycare. Also, they could go to work. And that's who we serve. We serve that group of people.
So, Libby, if somebody wants to get involved, whether it's a 10-year-old like Garrett was or a 40-year-old who needs to heal her soul a little bit, like, how do we help? How do we contribute? Who do we contact?
I think the best thing to do is you can go to Facebook, of course, the West Texas Food Bank Facebook page, and all of our activities are on there, whether you want to come to a class or whether you want to come volunteer to fill your soul's belly, or whether you want to help fill a belly. All those volunteer activities are on there. If you would like to donate, you can always donate off Facebook, but you can also go to our website. And if you want to call someone specifically to set up maybe for a group to come in and volunteer and do an activity, whether it's for senior box or produce or help with the distribution, senior pantry, you can always call the West Texas Food Bank. I would call the Midland number and ask to talk to Maria, and she will definitely help get you scheduled, whether it's in the Odessa facility or the Midland facility. So one of the cool things that I've gotten to do that the community has trusted me is I get to sit on the PEAK committee for Feeding America. There's 200 food banks in the country, if you guys didn't know that. We are one of them. 20 executive directors are chosen to sit on PEAK, which is basically a public policy. And we kind of help guide the entire network of food banks across the country on public policy. I still refer to him as the chairman or the boss, but Congressman Conaway was chair of Ag, and we just went through a very long, emotional, heart-wrenching, but we made it, farm bill. So yay. And farm bills definitely affect your local food bank. But there was a moment several years ago that I had to testify in San Angelo to the Ag Committee, and it is recorded, and it is in the library, and it is there, and I happened to replay it, and I looked at my forehead and thought, holy mackerel, the farm bill is aging me way past my years due to stress and not sleeping and probably having too much wine, and just, it was rough. And
All
so
of the things?
all of the feels that
Okay.
happen with feels and farm bill, as I like to call it. And I actually called Marcie and I was like, you've got to fix my face. Like, my face is out of control, and it is now in the Library of Congress on film with my face, and I look like I'm 50 and I'm 37, and it's the aging of the farm bill. So it was rough. And so I came in, I was like, we need to do Botox. And Marcie's like, okay, let's do Botox. So she does her magic, puts everything in my face. I'm like, how long will this last? And she's like, 4 or 5 months. You're going to be good.
Yeah, 4 to 6 anywhere in there. So 3 to 5, we'll re-inject.
Yeah, you're good. About 60 days in, I looked worse. Of course, the farm bill is now gone another 60 days, and this time it had failed on the House floor, and so I slept less and drank more wine. And everything was back plus some, and it maybe been 60 days. And so I text Marcie, my face is falling apart.
It didn't work.
And Marcie's like, what? You need to bring yourself back on up in here. And so that's when I realized, and Marcie switched me to Dysport. And it totally changed. And it really comes down to, I can now go 5 or almost 6 months. I mean, 6 months is sort of a little rough, but I can go like 5 months and my face doesn't look like farm bill face.
Well, I love your farm bill. Thank you for getting that farm bill passed on through.
Well, that was Chairman Conway, that's the boss.
He's amazing. I follow him all the time.
Yeah, he's great.
He's really cool.
He just celebrated his birthday.
Happy birthday. But that's a really good point. People come in here all the time and everybody asks, they want Botox, Dysport. They don't really know what they want, and they want to know what's the difference and which one's better and why is it better.
I don't think there is a difference. I think it's how your body breaks down the junk in that you put in my face.
That is exactly it. You hit the nail on the head. People think that that Botox is, and we talk about this all the time, it was kind of the gold standard, right? It was
definitely.
first.
It's been around for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
So 8 out of 10 people ask for Botox by name when they come in here. But what people don't understand is that you're running around calling everything Botox, right?
But it's not. It's totally different.
Like everything's not a Coke.
It fixes your stuff all the same, but each one of them's different.
Very different. So when you come in here and you say, I want that Botox, and it's like Coke or soda. Pepsi's a Coke, Dr. Pepper's a Coke, Sprite's a Coke. Okay, well, Xeomin, Relaxin, Dysport, they're all Botox, okay? So when you're talking to your friends and they're saying, I got my Botox, or I'm about to get my Botox, it's that they may have had Dysport or Xeomin or something else, because first of all, they're all Botox because it has been around longer and it is asked for so much by name. The biggest difference between Botox and Dysport is a tiny trace protein. It's literally one little thing that's so different and metabolizes very differently. It's going to metabolize differently in you than it does in you. And Botox, and I can sit beside you and be a Botox junkie. It has to be Botox that works for me. You have to have Dysport.
Yeah.
I'm actually Dysport, but I have a sister and a mom who are hardcore Botox. I can put Dysport in them, last a couple months, never really get still. That's what happens for me with Botox. So it's more about the person finding the right product, and you may have to take one on the chin like Libby, and you tried this one,
It was
now
no good.
you know.
My farm bill face came back, and it was rough.
Can't be having farm bill faces.
Couldn't have that farm bill face because there's no crying in public policy.
And so we switch you, and
And it's been great. And now, like, I'm on like year 2 or 3 and I'm at the point now that I don't even have to come as much
and
because
it's always shiny and smooth.
yeah, and it's because of the way I trusted you and trust people and realized that it didn't have to be a certain way. You know?
Everybody's different.
You got to find what works.
Well,
And so what's new? What's a new product that we're
Xeomin.
brought on here? Yeah, Xeomin.
Xeomin.
Is it the magic blue box?
It is the magic blue box. So this one's really cool. It doesn't have to be refrigerated, and it is actually kind of notably different from Botox and Dysport in that it's one ingredient. It's just botulinum toxin. It doesn't have any preservatives or any protective proteins around the botulinum toxin. The botulinum A, can't talk today. The botulinum A toxin.
Can you say that fast 5 times?
No, ever again. That's the only time I'm saying it for the rest of my life.
That sounds good. Yeah, go for that.
So Botox and Dysport, extra proteins in there. Those protective proteins, that's that little trace difference in those two. So those two are more similar. Xeomin is different. You don't refrigerate it before. It doesn't have those preservatives in it. Proteins or preservatives. It's just botulinum toxin. Why would you bring something else in if you've got Botox and Dysport? Like how many toxins do you need? Xeomin would be the guy you would use if you've done Botox, you've done Dysport. Both times you got 60 days, you got 30 days. It never quite set in. This is another option because it is notably different from the other two. We hope that if you don't respond well to either of those, that you will with Xeomin. New to MC Aesthetics, doing really amazing things. This company, right, MERS,
Yes.
they're cool. They're just a neat, innovative. They're doing so much marketing right now, promo stuff. If you keep seeing the black stuff with the hot pink X on it, that's MERS. They're everywhere on social media, the big hot pink X. So I think that all the hype, it's justified.
It's fresh. It's new. I mean, they're doing some cool stuff out there.
I love MERS.
What did you put in my cheeks?
Voluma.
Because that was magic.
That is my favorite thing that we have ever done on you.
That was life-changing. We
I
should
know.
do that more.
We talked about it we plotted it for like 6 months, and she's like, I don't know about shifting my face up. I don't know about raising those cheeks. I don't know. Before you even left, I was like, I'm her new best friend.
And I think I have told everyone, you need to go see Marcie about that liquid facelift thing in the cheeks. Like that thing's magic.
That's what it is, liquid facelift.
And it lasts for 2 years.
2 years, longest lasting filler that we have on the market, which is a really good point because also new to MC Aesthetics.
Yep.
Versa. I don't know if y'all can see that sexy little black box up there, but it is so sexy.
Like black magic?
Yeah, I mean, it's, something
it's
like
up there,
that.
yeah.
It's something like that. It's new. We haven't used it a whole lot, but the biggest difference with Versa versus all the other hyaluronic acid fillers that we have is
The sexy box.
Well, other than this, Nick just likes the sexy box.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, I just like that it's in a sexy black box.
Sexy black box.
It is. It's
very
high
nice.
class.
Yeah.
Well,
Top sure.
This little girl, Versa, she is versatile. So
Definitely.
The best thing about her is it's the only filler right now that is really indicated for multiple areas of the face. We have a ton of fillers in there, and they all go somewhere different. Some you can use in multiple places, but most of them aren't as versatile as Versa. So that's the first thing we love. It's manufactured a little differently using like a wet milling technology, and it's created in really small batches to ensure that balance between volume and smoothness. And it's the only thing this company is doing. It's like they've honed their skill.
Yeah, that's
this
good
is what
stuff,
we do,
yeah.
Versa.
Yep.
And I love that. The shift in the industry, we talk about it on the podcast a lot, is everything that is of yourself or more natural. Well, PRP, we take straight out of our body. It's got all those healing, amazing growth factors. It's regenerative. So when you use that filler in the face, you're actually healing on a whole other level. Yeah, you're putting all those platelets in there.
That's
girlfriend.
kind of magic.
It is. We bought a device that actually will spin down the PRP a little bit differently. It actually heats it and cools it to different temperatures. But what's amazing about it is that we can get it to different viscosities or different thicknesses. So it also is indicated for any area of the face. And it's out of your own body, and you get a fabulous price point for that. Fabulous price point.
That's pretty amazing.
Tons of volume. Yeah, really excited about that too.
Well, I think everybody should look at cheeks because that was life-changing.
That's the thing probably that I did, short of, I always say everybody needs Botox. I don't care who you are, you need Botox.
Or,
if you're not
or
19.
Dysport.
Dysport, well, yeah, see, they're all Botox.
Whatever that thing
See
is.
them in now.
Yeah. So they're all the same.
Yeah, so
Okay.
everybody needs that, but most of us need cheeks too.
You brought up price point. I wanted to circle back to our neurotoxins. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions around here. I've noticed that they think that Dysport or some of the other stuff is cheaper than
The generic.
Yeah, like a generic Botox, and that's not true.
No.
Absolutely, no. And we actually were talking about that a lot the other day.
Yeah.
Because that is a misconception. People think, oh, it's not Botox.
I think it's the generic.
Well, and yeah, they think it's generic.
Because
Or
I've
they
had
think
that
it's cheaper.
conversation with somebody. I'm like, oh, no, I do Dysport. And they're like,
Is that the generic?
literally said that to me. I was like, no, it just works better. I don't break it down.
Right.
So I can keep it in longer. So if it's the generic, it's...
Well, thank you. It
Thank
works
you.
better.
Yeah, it works better.
Well, or that it's cheaper. It is not even cheaper. These are priced very comparably, if not right along the same price. So we tend to price more by area up here so that you're not choosing one neurotoxin over the other based on price, so that you are able to, for the same price, find the one that works for you. But the dosing is a little different on Botox and Dysport. People think that the dosing is different. So when you look at a vial of Botox, it says 100 units on it. When you look at a vial of Dysport, it says 300 units on it. But when I reconstitute those little dry viruses in there, when I reconstitute that, I'm putting the same amount in and I'm injecting the same amount. But when I have to chart that, if I'm putting 50 units in Nick of Botox, I'm using the same amount of Dysport in you, and I'm using 120 to 150, 160, right? Anywhere in there. So that's the thing. It takes 3 times as much by the units, which it's like calling them apples and oranges. Same amount, goes in the same places, different units. It's giving them a different name. And so you have to figure it differently. But the dosing is different, but not really. So I think that's a huge point, because people always think they don't want that other generic one.
Definitely.
Huge point.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me.